A reading from the Gospel according to Mark. Glory to you, O Lord. Jesus said to his disciples, "In those days, right after that time of suffering, the sun will become dark, and the moon will no longer shine. The stars will fall, and the powers in the sky will be shaken. Then the Son of Man will be seen coming in the clouds with great power and glory. He will send his angels to gather his chosen ones from all over the earth. Learn a lesson from a fig tree. When its branches sprout and start putting out leaves, you know that summer is near. So when you see all these things happening, you will know that the time has almost come. You can be sure that some people living today will still be alive when all this happens. The sky and the earth will not last forever, but my words will. No one knows the day or the time. The angels in heaven don't know, and the Son himself doesn't know. Only the Father knows." The Gospel of the Lord. So, my friends, what do you think that Jesus is trying to tell us this week? I think that if you take that reading by itself, it sounds a little bit scary. He's talking about the world ending and the sun going dark and the moon not shining anymore, and that all sounds pretty horrible to me. But I think it's really important that you understand that when Jesus was talking at this point in the gospel, he was talking to his disciples. And he was trying to prepare them. He was trying to prepare them for the understanding, the fact that he was not always going to be right there with them, teaching them and guiding them. Did you know that to a certain extent, your parents prepare you for the same thing as you are growing up? Because one day you're going to be a big person and you're going to be out living your own life. And your parents aren't going to be right there to tell you what to do and how to do it. And so that's really what Jesus was doing, is out of love and concern for his friends, he was starting to prepare them for the fact that he wasn't always going to be there, and that when our salvation comes at the end of time, that they need to be prepared for it, because he's not going to be there to tell them when that's going to happen. So Jesus has a very important message here, and it's not so much about what's going to happen. It's not even so much about when it's going to happen. It's more about what we need to do in the meantime to be ready for something when it happens, okay? So I want you to think about this. Knowing when something is going to happen is not as important as being prepared for something to happen. It is not as important as the way that we live. If we live prepared and ready, then we are living the way that Jesus tells us to. So he's saying, always be prepared, and he's also saying that his word lives forever. So even though he wasn't always going to be right there with them, his words would remain. And isn't that true? We talk about how if you say something to someone, that those words stay, they stick. The words are important because they're remembered and they stay around. So here's what I want you to think about in regard to always being prepared. I want you to think about your backpack for school. At the beginning of the year, Your teacher gives you a list of supplies that you're going to need for your backpack, right? And on that list of supplies is probably a ruler, glue or glue sticks, crayons, colored pencils, maybe a pair of scissors, note cards, notebooks, all sorts of different things, pencils, all of the different things that you're going to need throughout the year. Now, are you going to need all of those things for every project that you do at school? No, right? Are you even going to need all of those things the first week that you're in school? Probably not. That would be a really busy first week of school. But when the teacher gives you the list, you go out and you get all of the things so that you are prepared, right? So that you are ready to go whenever the project finally comes, that you're going to need colored pencils instead of crayons, or you're going to need your glue stick. You've got it, you're ready to go, you're prepared. And that's really what Jesus is talking about here. He's saying you need to be prepared for the day when it's time to take a look at how you've lived your life. And we all have those days. And sometimes we have those days throughout our lives too. There are times that it becomes necessary for us to just take a look at the way that we have been living our lives. And he's saying, if you are prepared and you live every day the best way that you can, then you don't ever have to worry about it. And he's also saying that if you're prepared and something changes, you don't have to be stressed out or concerned about this change either, because you were ready. You were prepared and ready to go. So this week, I want you to think about, what does it mean to be prepared? What prepares you to be a child of God? What do you need to do to prepare to be the best child of God that you can be? Have that discussion with your family. See what your mom and dad thinks too. And I will see you again next week. Bye, my friends.